Very curious.
But
All right. So, anyways, back
yeah,
to the original question. Sorry,
yes,
that was
yes,
a very interesting tangent, and I wanted to go down it. Um,
that's what this is for.
there may be some people bringing headsets to the market soon. I don't think actual competition, or not competition, something comparable to price, performance, and power to Facebook is going to come without some kind of compromise, right? Like, do you
Hmm.
care about supply chains? Do you care about where it's made? Do you care about whether the labor involved was slave labor or not? Do you care if the country it was manufactured in is trying to attack and subvert yours? Because if so, there are a whole bunch of cheap headsets coming your way, right?
Yep.
But it's like, do you want it to be American made? Do you want it to be made in an allied country? Do you like what do you want out of the production? Because like all of these things have costs associated with them, and so I don't know. I think some people because I swear to gosh, I've had so many people say we need cheaper headsets that are not made by Facebook, and it needs to happen right now. And like if
Damn the
everybody who ever said
consequences.
that, if everybody who ever said that sat down and worked on building a headset, we'd have it by now.
I think if anyone who said that worked on anything, I mean, let's just be honest. Everything takes so much more than you expect. A simple lollipop that you buy from a convenience store it wasn't just some Joe in a room who made a lollipop. There's a lot that went into that. A lot of different companies. There's not even one company who dealt with it. So I'm with you fully. I just don't. I'm not a pessimist at heart. I never will be. But I still have problems rationalizing in my head what headset could come at a cost-effective point that wouldn't come with some type of con that would probably be on a spectrum unethical to somebody. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it might be a while. I actually think that trying to attack it from that angle is the wrong angle to attack the problem from. I actually think people who really care about VR right now should focus on the customers that are already here, the really engaged enthusiast people, because a lot of them,
Wow.
and this is becoming less true these days, right? It was more true in 2017 than it is now,
Yeah, I would really
but
like to hear where you're going with this because I'm with you. I feel like, but I know. Yeah, I'm gonna let you finish there.
a lot of professionals in this industry, investors, developers, whoever, they have been ignoring real customers who exist today for the prospect of a hypothetical huge future install base that may never arrive.
Yes.
Right? And so if somebody really wants to sort of push the future of VR in the best way they think is possible, what they should do is they should focus on very, very small interventions that lean on design, because design is cheap. It's compared to production. Right? Focus on very small products for the existing community that are easy to produce and get most of their value from design, and think long term, right? Come up with a whole bunch of small little product ideas, let each one grow further or grow one after the other. And most importantly, what I think somebody who wants to work in VR should do is spend time directly, deeply embedded in the community, like right up to their eyeballs, to get a sense for what customers want and for what they are interested in, what things they'll respond to well. Because it seems to me like a lot of efforts are just trying to import old game industry knowledge, things from flat
Yes.
2D gaming, and like, okay, we're going to build this, right? And this is understandable. And then they all get so wrapped up in development that they never actually figure out if there's product market fit. They're never actually making sure they're serving a real customer, or they have all these charts. And again, this was way more common in like 2016 and 2017.
Hmm.
Be like, oh, well, I have this hockey stick graph that says there's going to be 1 billion users in VR by 2024, right? That's obviously not going to happen. But like, so much of the initial hype was predicated on that. And so, I don't know, I think just really focusing on the existing community and what can be done for them inexpensively and focused on the long term is the right play here.
When you
Um,
say current community, is there a heavy allusion here to PCVR? I gotta ask.
uh, Subconsciously, maybe.
Yes. Okay.
Um,
I had to
uh,
ask that.
yeah, maybe. It's
What would
entirely possible. That's what I was thinking. I don't know.
if on your short list? I don't need, you don't need to give me the perfect game experience, something, but your short list. If developers were as good all the time, or sorry, not developers, if the outreach and the focus of knowing what the current enthusiast market wanted was as strong 24/7 as HTC tried their meme game, what would be on JC's like short list of, hey, this attention to detail right here is needed right now for who you have and where you want to go?
All right. Yeah. So I really think the big thing is to focus on design, right? Production is extremely expensive. If you have any artists or developers on your team, it's going to be a huge cost sink to keep them there, right? And I know a lot of gamers are starting to say, well, we want long form story experiences and we want better graphics and all that stuff. And yes, you, like as consumers, you do deserve those things,
Sure.
but they're very economically difficult to build right now. So I think using science about what we know about the body, about what we know feels good, about what we know is fun, focus very much on the game feel, interactions, feedback, tight gameplay loops. If you do want to go look at old games, getting inspiration, arcade games from way back in the day
Sure.
are great for this, right? Because they were designed to just sort of like keep you engaged, get you a lot of fun really intensely, and especially with these headsets not being wearable, most of them not being wearable for more than 4 hours. There's no point to making like a 40 or 60 hour epic in VR right now.
I could not agree with you more on that. It is why some of the games that I still to this day play the most are probably the older games. Jet Island, I have entered my flow state the most I've ever done in those games. First, and that's what let me bring it back here. Hold on. My short list. All I want is to find a game that I enter that flow state quicker and quicker, where it doesn't really matter anymore what I'm doing. I am now just in that game. Jet Island was one of those games for me where, yeah, I had to learn the controls and how to maneuver and maintain position with the board and speed. Once I did, there's points where I completely forgot, 100% forgot that have an objective. I had no objective other than I just want to get to the top of that mountain and I'll do whatever I need to do to get there, and completely lost myself into the point where thank God I had a table behind me because I would have fallen backwards if I didn't and caught myself. I am now just doing only VR because that's where my brain is at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you asked me to design my perfect game, and of course, to break out of the scope a little bit, I'm going to assume I have an unlimited budget, but I'm not going to spend it on typically high budget items. Just going to use it to extend the runway as far as possible because runway is everything. I would say I would want a video game that has some of the core gameplay elements of Sirento, the cutting mechanics from Katana X, the throwing mechanics from Budget Cuts, and the ability to like import a VRM avatar. Right.
Okay.
And then like a lot better level and encounter design, right? You put all those things together, you do a lot of rapid prototyping, you focused almost entirely on design. I think you'll have a killer VR game on your hands.
I do like that. That does sound really, really good. Except for, I'll be honest, man, I never could figure something about budget cuts and throwing. I was always having problems with, but that's probably me because I was using the Vive wands at the time, and throwing on those was anything but easy. So yeah, any Vive Pro 2 owners in the chat, have fun throwing with those Vive wands. I do love them though. I do love them. I'm not trying to throw too much shade at those. Hit that subscribe button to stay on top of the daily clips, or catch the debates and fireside chats live on the main channel down in the video description. See you next time, Space Cowboys.